Hey listeners, just a quick note that the first 7 episodes of this series were recorded before the tragic passing of Akira Toriyama. We hope that by sharing our love and passion for what he has created, we can somehow honor his memory.
Yep, you will be missed, Akira. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Nerdy Jock Media Presents Anime Pod presents Dragon Ball Z Megapod. I'm here with my co-host DK, who is also, evidently he's still a Super Saiyan, so he's been training in the room of time up at Kami's Lookout.
That's right. I decided to stay this way to conserve energy, but even as a Super Saiyan, I'm still just a white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is a testament to just how hard that martial art is to learn.
I don't want to fight you. And I am Kevin Ketchum, your other host. Welcome back. We are so excited today because we have a fantastic episode. This is quite possibly my favorite stretch of episodes that we're going to cover in Dragon Ball Z fandom.
This is it. This is the meat and potatoes, and we're coming at you live on scene at the Paprika Wasteland.
Yeah, a lot of great fighting goes down here, as you can see. A lot of great rocks that are going to lose their form and be destroyed. So a lot of damage is going to be happening there, but just a really, really great episode. We're going to be covering episodes 26, Nappa's Rampage, all the way up to Mercy, 35. So we're going to finish the Vegeta saga today. But before we even go deeper into the episodes, recap one by one, DK wants to take over and do a little bit of insight here because in the last couple episodes, if you guys noticed, the animation style started to get better, a little more refined. And you're like, wait, what's going on here? Like I asked DK, I texted him like, why specifically does, Vegeta's hair and his whole look and his outlook change from the lines and animation style from episode to episode? So what exactly happened here, Dan, to improve this animation so much?
The short answer to that question is budget. Obviously, everyone knew this was the most important part of the season. So they saved all of their heavy hitters for this moment. But What does that mean? What does saving your heavy hitters for this moment mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
To answer that question, we have to understand how anime gets made and how it's different from Western animation. Particularly, we'll use Disney as the comparison. So if you look at a movie like Aladdin, you have an animator for Aladdin, you have an animator for the genie, you have an animator for Jasmine. Every individual character has its own animator, and then there are separate animators for the other people in the background, for the backgrounds themselves, etc., etc. It's a very amazing, intricate process, which is why Disney animation is so smooth and it's at that 24 frame level. That's why it's so good. Anime doesn't work that way. They're on a really, really severe time crunch. I mean, especially a show like this that has to air year round. It's not in seasons. There has to be a new episode every week with a few holiday exceptions all year round. And so they have we're talking weeks, like 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the episode of a production schedule to get this out.
And quick interruption here. And how long would in general, like a Simpsons or a Family Guy or an American episode of television, how long would that take for an animated series in USA?
So the pipeline for US television animation is interesting because you have your writers, you have somebody who storyboards basically every tiny little movement in every episode of The Simpsons, and then it's shipped overseas where it's completed by an animation team, usually in South Korea somewhere, and it's returned with the finished animation 6 months later.
6 months. So you're telling me a USA show, animated series, could take 6 months for one episode to be produced, and anime has to do it in what?
2 to 6 weeks, usually.
2 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, depending on the episode. And also, too, with a fraction of the budget. There's a cliche in Hollywood that you can't do something fast, cheap, and good. You can only have 2 of those things at once. You can have fast and cheap, good and cheap, or fast and good, but it won't be cheap. It'll be expensive.
Right.
With anime, so for an episode of The Simpsons, that's actually great.
Right.
An episode of The Simpsons, I'm thinking that's like around, conservatively, $3 to $5 million per episode. A little bit less, maybe. We'll call it 2 million, if not for the star power of that very established cast. But that's a pretty standard budget for a 22 episode animated sitcom in the United States. An episode of Dragon Ball Z, probably $200,000 to $300,000 to produce. Everything. I'm talking everything. Animation, voice acting, writing, everything. I mean, they're adapting, so that's a little bit easier.
Right.
So what ends up happening, going back to the animation thing, is that they have key animators. And if you really want to learn the process of animation, just how crazy it is, there's a great manga called Animeta out that actually Studio Trigger, the people behind Kill la Kill, Darling in the Franxx, and the Edge Runners cyberpunk show on Netflix, like amazing studio founded by Hiroyuki Imaishi. I don't know. I hope I got his name right there. I'm just spitting off the cuff here. But actually, it is required reading to work at that studio because it details just how insane the animation process is in there. So basically, there's a team of key animators, Ganga artists, and they all have their each individual style. And there's an animation director and a character designer, and they try to be as on model as possible, but they're given huge chunks of the episode to animate, like a whole fight. Like any time you see like that thing we talked about earlier, Tien versus Nappa, one person animated that entire thing. I shouldn't say one person because you also have your doga artists. Those are your in-betweeners. And you have your cleanup person who basically has to redraw all of the keyframes, all of the in-betweens, everything. It gets drawn and redrawn 100 times. And then if you're an animation director like Tadayoshi Yamamuro, who we'll touch on later, he did a lot of Z and he did a lot of Super too. I think he did all of Super as animation director. You might redraw everything yourself because you want it corrected to your specific style. So that's how animation is produced. You have key animators that do key sequences, and you have fandoms that spring up around just these animators. If you want to see an example, if any of you are familiar with Cowboy Bebop, or if you watch My Hero Academia, which is big right now.
Both.
Well, Bebop was done by Sunrise, but later branched off. That team became Bones. If you look up the name Yutaka Nakamura on YouTube and look up the name and put the word mad next to it, you will see a reel of all of the battle sequences he did just by himself. To name a few, Spike versus Asimov, episode 1 of Cowboy Bebop. Right. Spike versus Vincent on the train in Cowboy Bebop the movie. A very beautiful movie that Bones did called Sword of the Stranger. Lots of amazing animation in My Hero Academia. These people do these entire sequences by themselves, and productions often save the bulk of their budget for that. So we're in the era of Dragon Ball Z here where Minoru Maeda is the character designer and animator. And he was there since Dragon Ball. And even if you read the manga, there's still, at this point, kind of a Dragon Ball feel. Like there's more rounded shapes. But Toriyama is making a concerted effort to do more realistic anatomy, to bring it out of that softer look, more hard edges, more, just make it look a little bit more real.
Yeah, when he's going Kaioken, he's gonna look jacked,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the anatomy has to be perfect. It's got to look
swole.
really, really good. And you can tell that Toei, when they did this, they saved all of their best people for this. For people listening, we're gonna put images in the show notes where you can see the difference between the different animators, because there are so many amazing animators like Sato. God, all the names escape me because I'm thinking too fast right now. We'll put the graphic, you can see it, and who do really iconic scenes by themselves. If you want to do a much deeper dive with somebody much more knowledgeable than me about the animation at Toei and all the talent over there, I recommend the YouTube channel Anime AJ. That guy is fucking on it. That guy, I mean, he put into words things that I had noticed my whole life and I just never even knew. I didn't know there was fandoms around animation until I discovered his channel. So do a deep dive on that. You can also find out who the bad studios were, because a show that works year round, you have to outsource. You have to outsource to other studios, and you have directors like I don't want to shit on anybody, but Ebisawa. Anytime you see the character models get stretched out and wonky, that's Ebisawa shit. Or Studio Live. There's a lot of really bad animation. There's just as much bad animation in Dragon Ball Z as there is good animation, because it's just a bunch of different teams working and just drawing everything themselves under the most insane crunch you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
We talked about how hard it is to make manga, but anime just as hard in a totally different way.
Yeah.
So,
and a short and abbreviated time span as well. That's a really great breakdown there. Thank you, DK, for that one. We, check out Anime AJ.
Anime AJ, yeah,
Anime
spelled
AJ
out
on YouTube.
AJAY.
And we're going to add some links down on the YouTube page, just so you know, and also on our streaming service on Spotify, just so you know. I didn't plug it earlier, but follow us on all of our social medias at nerdyjock_media on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you find podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify. We're going to be on all of those. So check us out, follow us. If you're on YouTube right now, press like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing and what we can do to make this show great for you guys. So great start. Let's get on in. This is my favorite. Probably
this is the meat, man.
This is the meat, man.
This is it.
I've been
right
waiting.
here.
I've been working, watching all the old uncut ones again, and I'm just happy to be here. Let's go right at it. Episode 26, Nappa's Rampage. Okay, Vegeta has called a halt to the fighting.
Right.
And Nappa uses that time to go on a rampage, right? So meanwhile, Goku reaches the end of Snake Way, and the race to rejoin his friends begins. But is he already too late to save them from the deadly Saiyans? Okay, so Nappa's Rampage is kind of a filler episode, right?
Yeah. They do take a break in the manga, if I'm remembering correctly, but there aren't the iconic scenes from like the Rock the Dragon intro where where he is tearing into military jets, where he's just flying around, ripping through jets, destroying things, blowing stuff up.
He destroys the town.
Right.
He destroys the whole Navy, the Air Force. Another cool shot. I remember when I first saw the first episode, you still see the Rock the Dragon because they had that intro, and you see Nappa, boom, bust up from the bottom, tear down with his arms, destroys the F-14 and like that with his hands. You're like, what the hell is this? Right. This is cool. And this is the episode where it actually shows Nappa doing that damage. So even though this is a filler episode, there's actually a lot of really cool stuff in there. And I think there are a couple scenes that are from the manga as well.
Absolutely. Well, Goku arriving at the end and Kami just being there and being like, quick, grab my arm, boom, and disappear. Yeah.
Takes him down, boom, takes him down to the lookout, and then Goku jumps off and goes on his way, right?
Right. And this is also, I mean, the reprieve gives Piccolo and Krillin a little bit of time to strategize.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a moment where Gohan, he tries to leave because Piccolo is basically like, you're a coward. You're obviously in the way. Just get out of here. And Gohan just kind of sulks away, and Nappa doesn't let him leave. Like blows up a rock in front of him, and then Gohan like makes fun of Nappa or something, says something to him.
Classic guilt trip, by the way. Great job by Uncle Piccolo on guilt tripping.
Right.
Get out of here, Gohan.
Because Gohan's like, just train me a little bit. I just need a warm up, and then I'll be good. And Piccolo says something like really harsh to him, tells him to get out of there. But then in his mind, we see for the first time Piccolo being contrite, where he's like, I taught you everything I know. Like I have nothing left to teach you. Like truly, there's nothing I can give you anymore. It's really. But anyway, the strategy he comes up with Krillin is, what we've seen before with Goku and Raditz. It's like, we have not exploited the tail.
Right.
We know it's their one weakness. And this was a question that my girlfriend had the whole time. It's like, why aren't they going for his tail? They know it's the weakness. And so when they made this plan, she was like, oh, finally, maybe they're going to have some sort of edge. The tide is going to turn because we've just seen everybody die so far.
Right.
Yeah. So
they do make that plan. Is this this
is it. Yeah.
This is the episode. Okay, so he does go for his tail. Okay, so Krillin.
Oh, no, they make the plan.
They make the plan.
He doesn't go for it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The fighting has not resumed yet.
Fighting has not resumed yet, but it's going to. This is the 3 hours in between. Let Nappa have some fun. Okay?
Right.
So Kami gets Goku. Goku basically teleports down. He jumps off the tower, nosedives thousands of feet. Korin meets him out there, has a couple sensu beans on hand, thank God. Throws him to Goku, catches him, but what if he missed, guys? DK, what? I mean, it's Goku. Obviously, he's going to catch him, but That's a risky maneuver. You got these two beings that are basically like the best steroids in the world. You know, you take those,
Right.
you're gonna be living forever. You know, senzu
Yeah.
beans are amazing. If you do
They
remember back
heal
from Dragon
broken
Ball.
bones and ripped
Yeah.
tendons. I mean, it's the best medicine in any fantasy ever. It's
Yeah,
just, it's
give me
just
some of that. Yeah,
a bona fide cure-all, and there's always just not enough of them.
not enough.
Yeah, always. It's like it's a plot device, but it's always used in scarcity, which is really great. But yeah, my answer to your question is if he had missed them, Goku wouldn't have gone after them because
no.
he already senses that people are dead. He's like,
Yeah.
I only feel a few people over there.
Yeah.
That's not normal. I need to get over there as quickly as possible. He's not gonna be like, wait, the beans, you know. So
He caught him. Thank God he caught the sensu beans, and then he called Kentun, Flying Nimbus, his cloud,
right.
and he is on his way. So Goku finally.
Is almost in the game. Now he's just racing across the planet to the Paprika Wasteland.
Now he's got to get there. Thank God for instant what? Not yet.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Not yet.
Can't quite do that one yet.
That's the end of Nappa's rampage.
Yep. Now, next episode is Nimbus Speed.
Yes.
Okay, give us a quick breakdown of this episode here, DK.
So now we have Goku. He's racing against the clock, and he's telling us, he's like, wait, I don't... So Goku now is racing towards the battlefield, and he knows that something's wrong. He can't feel as many people as he should be able to, and Nappa has stripped off his armor, and he's ready to go. He's in beast mode. Krillin and Piccolo have this plan, and this is a moment you were talking about. Krillin was a badass.
Yeah.
Like, talk about that. Like, I mean, like, Krillin does this cool little thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite sequences here. Krillin, my guy, he does his Destructo Disc technique. What's it called in Japanese?
Kienzan.
Kienzan.
Right.
Super amazing, cool technique, guys. If you're a Krillin fan like I am, and you don't get enough cool techniques that people just develop on their own,
right,
or go through training to get, well, this is his first time pulling the Destructo Disc out. You know, his hand is like this, up like a pizza, but it's a saw blade. And imagine making an energy beam that's a saw blade and can tear through anything.
And if Vegeta hadn't been there, it would have killed Nappa.
No, it would have like sliced him in half.
Yeah, Vegeta had to tell him.
And it could have killed Piccolo and the other guys. It could have killed them too, actually.
The way that this appears in the plot too is so dope because first Krillin like runs at Nappa and then he blasts himself up in the air. Piccolo rushes around, grabs the tail, but doesn't work.
No.
Nappa hits him on the head and they taunt them like, you think that we would have really not trained out such an obvious weakness? Like, for storytelling, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they always break it down into just two simple things. No ands, and you have to use buts and therefores.
Right.
Like, they grab the tail, but it doesn't work. Therefore, now Piccolo is out of the equation. He's nearly been brained. We don't know if he's dead because he's out. Nappa's shaking him. It's like, I might have hit this guy a little too hard. We still need to get the secret of the Dragon Balls out of you. So therefore, Krillin has to bust out this brand new technique that has the ability to murk Nappa. But Vegeta saves Nappa by telling him to dodge it.
That pissed me off. I kind of always wanted to see him use a Destructo Disc besides a tail or something like that. Like something not essential. I want to see him. Well, I guess he does cut someone down later on. But actually, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
I don't think that him using it ever significantly impacts the story at all, unfortunately.
But it's a super cool move, and we wish it was used more often.
Yeah, but it is always used at a key moment in the plot where it could mean something very significant, but it doesn't. Right. Which is the button therefore there again.
Great point, because let's be real. You see a Kamehameha, odds are you don't think it's going to kill that person. You might think it's not going to do anything. Even Kamehameha, he learned in Dragon Ball, but he's against Vegeta, and we know it's not going to be effective.
Right.
You can just tell. But we do know, or at least we, as the audience, we watch Krillin power up a Destructo Disc. There's always that possibility, like, hey, if this lands, they're gone.
Yeah, even someone as strong as Cell.
Yeah.
Well, Cell had regenerative capabilities, so maybe Frieza would be a better example there. But I saw a panel once at Anime Expo where Sonny Strait, the English voice actor for Krillin, brought up. It's like, Krillin should have just killed everybody. Like, just solar flare, destructor disc, solar flare, destructor disc. And it's kind of true. It's like a fun little like fan thing. But right here, it's awesome because he pulls out this new technique. And my girlfriend's reaction to this, I mean, like, she's reacting to everything so organically. She's like, what? Like when she sees that, and I'm just sitting there because I know what's gonna happen. And then when she sees what it could have done when it cuts the mountain in half, she was like, oh. Like it was so disappointing because it was like a moment of hope and then it was just ripped away.
And you don't get that from every energy attack that happens. So that's a cool, really, really cool moment for Krillin. One of my favorite characters. Great scene for him as well. Unfortunately, just like Krillin, a little bit not enough.
Right. Everything is just not enough until our heroes in this episode start to sense a familiar presence rushing towards them.
What? Who is that? What's that energy level? That's my Piccolo.
It's Goku.
Yeah.
Is that a good Krillin?
so it wasn't Vegeta. It wasn't Nappa. Piccolo, while they are fighting, stops mid scene. He's like, wait, what is that? He senses an enormous power. Like, it shakes him to his core. He's scared shitless. You're like, what? Piccolo's scared shitless. Yes, shitless. You can tell he's like, what is this key? Just stunned. And we realize, oh man, it's going on. Goku is back, and he is powerful.
Because the Saiyans haven't had their scouters on.
No.
They took them off because they're like, oh, they can fluctuate. So then Vegeta puts his back on, and he picks up a reading, and even he's kind of taken aback. And he's like, what is going on here? And
I think they do mention, he's like, oh, Nappa says, oh, it's broken, or something's not working. Like, dude, it's like,
at some point, because he asks, is Kakarot really on his way?
Yeah.
And Vegeta says, I don't know if it's Kakarot, but something is coming towards us with a battle power over 5,000.
Over 5,000?
And this immediately changes the stakes, where Vegeta's like, kill them all. If they gang up on us, if somebody really is that strong that's coming, if they ganged up on us, it could be a problem.
Literally, it's, hey, we're going to wait 3 hours to, oh crap, kill them right now because there is a sense of urgency because this could be our demise.
Pile their bodies, like unravel Goku's will to fight when he shows up. I mean, you seeing the stakes in their eyes too, where like it really demonstrates like, oh man, now it's down to the wire. Now Goku needs to get there even quicker than he needed to before. It's crazy.
Dragon Ball's great about this. They can flip on a dime. They can, one episode they can make you think, oh, Nappa and Vegeta have all the power in the world. There's no chance they're going to get defeated. And then Goku lands and boom, on a dime, flips. So now you got another power dynamic and another cool motivate. You're watching, you get motivated like, okay, this is going to be more interesting again. It's better than, like a WWE battle, or like a big wrestling match kind of.
It's an interesting comparison. I'm not a professional wrestler fan. I have nothing against it because I have friends who are very passionate about it. And when I've watched it with them, I realize it's the same thing. I'm like, oh, I get this. It's butts in their force.
Right.
It's like, oh, he does his secret technique, but he slips underneath. Oh, but some random dude runs out and stuff like that. Like, all wrestling is butts in their force.
Right.
Like, distilled down to its purest form. And that's what Dragon Ball does so well, too. It's like, okay, now they have to kill them, and then there's this huge butt where he's about to kill Piccolo, and then Gohan finally does something.
Right.
He finally attacks Nappa, kicks him, hurts him pretty badly. So therefore Nappa is now like, well, fuck this, you're dead, kid.
Yeah.
And he's about to launch. He launches the craziest attack he can think of, and right at the end of the episode, Piccolo leaps in front of the attack.
Yeah. So that was crazy. This is just an all-timer episode. This is just a fantastic episode. At the very end, you'd think this guy Piccolo, who 20 episodes ago, 30 episodes ago, he wanted to kill Goku, his father. And now, this guy, Demon Piccolo from Dragon Ball, one of the most fearsome foes, Goku's arch enemy, is going to sacrifice himself to save Goku's son, which is like, you get goosebumps a little bit.
The experience too, like I often try to put myself in the headspace because if you read Dragon Ball and then you read and then this happens, it's one of the craziest reversals ever.
Yeah.
I mean, Piccolo fucked Goku up in the Tenkaichi Budokai. Like, almost killed him, blew a hole through his, like, shoulder/chest. I mean, it was a dog fight. You know, it was real bad. So them teaming up was cool, but him saving Gohan by sacrificing himself, that moment is just like, wow. Like, it's such good storytelling.
Yeah, that's the best. And that just shows, like, one of the best things about Dragon Ball franchise is how they show growth in their characters.
Right.
You know, they show these people that you think, you know, can't be saved or can't be changed, but with, you know, the proper amount of love and empathy, you know, people can become better. You know, not just people, even Namekians.
All of Goku's friends were once his enemies.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Krillin was more a rival,
yeah.
But Yamcha was certainly an enemy. He was antagonistic. Tien was a very good enemy. That Tenkaichi Budokai arc with Tien and Chaozu, yeah, he was a formidable enemy. He was much stronger than Goku. He had an attack that was stronger than Goku's attack. And then now Piccolo too. I mean, it's and then later on, of course, other characters. We'll get to those when we get to those. But
we'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, it leads perfectly into the next episode because the next episode starts with Piccolo taking the blast too.
Exactly. So that's actually the next episode, and this is probably, I would say, one of my favorite of all time episodes.
Totally.
Out of 291 episodes, I love this episode. This is called Goku's Arrival. It is episode number, let me see. I think it's like episode number 27, Goku's Arrival. My favorite episode. I'm just going to give you a big summary breakdown here, okay? So Nappa fires his bomber. He fires his bomber DX move at Gohan. Piccolo jumps out, arms out. Ah! You see some really cool animation. A lot of great animation in this episode as well.
Yeah. The line work animation. It goes monochrome.
Monochrome.
Yeah, like very heavy pencil lines. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Really cool. And then boom, you hear this body fall. It's Piccolo. Just boom, falls over. And then Goku, he senses Piccolo's energies dropping.
Right. He's like, somebody's dying.
Yeah. He's like still on his damn cloud, by the way. A little annoying at this point, you know.
That's true. Yeah, if he had flown there, he's probably at this point faster than Kinto-on.
That's something we should have talked about. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what you think, because I think that's crazy.
The plot decisions are unavoidable. it is kind of funny to think about if he had just flown there. I mean, I know he wants to conserve his energy for the fight because we mentioned that Korn gave him 2 sensu beans, and he immediately eats one of them because he's been flying nonstop for 2 days.
Yeah, but then he eats a sensu bean, so he should be 110%. Actually, the best. He should feel like he's on the biggest high of his life.
Right.
You know, that guy's going for it. So I think he can fly a little bit. I mean, the cloud's like,
yeah.
Even at its fastest, it's kind of still.
It's like flying coach when you can fly an F-18.
It's like, dude, it's like you got a Ferrari, but you're taking the Volkswagen. You know?
Yeah,
no
totally.
offense, but yeah, exactly. So I don't get that there. Maybe it's you know, it is economic. It's eco-friendly, that's for sure.
Totally.
You know, better than wasting gas key. Anyway, back to the plot. With tears in his eyes, Piccolo reflects on his time with Gohan, thanks him for being his first friend. Oh, what a moment, guys.
Oh, man.
What a moment. We all remember this. I remember it. I watched this episode just the other day. Still hits hard, man, not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, there's a flashback moment to the moment where we were talking about earlier, where he's like yelling at Gohan and tells him he's gonna kill him if he doesn't go to sleep. And Gohan's asleep, and there's a moment of tenderness where he like puts his hand on Gohan
while he's sleeping, you know.
Yeah. And this episode, even not knowing the stakes of Dragon Ball as a kid, this hit me so fucking hard. My girlfriend was just like, no, like she couldn't believe it. I mean, I think that she's a Piccolo stan now. I think she loves Piccolo.
I mean, who doesn't though? Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, he might be my favorite right now of all time. I love Piccolo.
I love Piccolo. I'm a big Piccolo fan.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful. I mean, and even the subtlety in the way he delivers it in Japanese, which we should say that typically Kevin and I watch it in Japanese.
Yeah, I'm a Japanese, like, basically everything, honestly. I mean, there's a few things I will watch. Just to take a quick tangent from this episode, I will watch some stuff dubbed, but 99% are subbed and Japanese original. And if I do watch the dub, it's after I watch the Japanese sub.
Right.
Because you could really get a good feel of the direction behind the Japanese team and the voices that they wanted. You know, a lot of times those, you know, Piccolo voices, those deep ones, you need a, you know, that very like grumbly in your chest kind of voice.
He has a more like razor sharp voice in Japanese.
Right.
Like in English, the original Scott McNeil, he had a metal voice, kind of like he had like a death growl. And even if you watch the Ocean dub of Death Zone, it just opens with the most metal scream ever. Like Scott McNeil, just incredible. But then Chris Sabat does this amazing deep, like, you know, voice for Piccolo that also really works for him. But the Japanese, it's just kind of like there's something like cutting about it. Like it's not deep, it's not monstrous. It just there's something sharp to it. But there's also things that you can glean from the Japanese version, that like subtleties. Like he never full on admits anything to Gohan here. He says like, you know, the year that I spent with you wasn't so bad. Which the subtext, I know it's hard. It's
what a moment.
It's beautiful.
And he says that, and that's when the tears are going down. It's like, oh, dude. I was like, give them the Emmy right now, guys. Give them the anime award, best death. Like,
best death ever.
Yeah. This episode, it definitely wins one of best death by Piccolo. So, you know, pour one out for our guy Piccolo, because that was a great moment. And it's a great motivator for the next scene coming up.
And then, I mean, like, okay, so the significance of this is that Gohan turns around and he fires the Masenko at Nappa, which Masenko is a quote unquote demon move. It's got the word Ma in it that Piccolo used, Ma Jr. It's the beginning of the word Makanko Sapo, which is the special beam cannon. It is a demon attack. We have never seen him use it. And
first time.
Yeah, his mentor dies and he turns around and this little 5-year-old child fires like a demon beam.
Pulls it out. I was like, dude. So it just keeps on. This is the best episode, man. It just keeps on hitting, man.
Right.
It goes like, look at that. Goosebumps. You can see it, but that's goosebumps.
We should mention that Nappa has already taken Krillin out of the equation. Like Krillin is just down for the count now. So Gohan is literally the last one left.
I think I don't know if it's Krillin's back, but he got knocked out. But
there's like a huge blast. He tried to block it, and he just gets caught up, and he just hits the ground. He's just down. Yeah.
Also, just a quick note. It's important to note that, you know, as Piccolo dies, obviously Kami's dying as well.
Right.
And that means, at least for now, the end of the Earth Dragon Balls.
Right. Although when Vegeta tells Nappa to kill Piccolo, even he said, "Wait a minute, like, why don't we just go to Namek? Like, there might be Dragon Balls there too. It's like, who cares?
Right.
Like, let's not waste our time with this trash. Just kill them. We'll kill Kakarot. We'll go to Namek, and then we'll try to make our wish there."
Boom. Okay, so then what else happens in this one that we need to really cover?
So then it's another but therefore scenario.
Yeah.
So we have he fires the demon beam, we'll call it, the Masenko, and Vegeta gives Nappa the reading of his power, and so then Nappa knows exactly what to do to just swat it away, and now it's curtains for Gohan. Nappa's moving in for the final kill.
Ooh, another great scene!
Yeah.
It's just one after another. I watched this yesterday and I was like, oh crap, because I'm trying to remember everything else, but this happens too. So he says, hurry up the attack. We got to get here. Goku's on his way. But now, for the first time ever, it's a little too late for Nappa.
Right.
Because Goku pops up.
Right. Kinto-un snatches. I mean, well, he like Nappa like stomps down like to smash Gohan like to pieces. And he's not there, and then you just see Gohan floating on Kinto-un or Nimbus, and it's
you see the shadow on the ground, actually.
You see the shadow.
Which is really cool, you know?
And then Goku is just there. And it's like, okay, he's finally arrived. And then there's a question hanging over everything that's like, well, how strong is he?
And he's stoic. He's pissed. That's how you know Goku's going to kick someone's ass, is when he shows up and he's stoic as hell. Because Goku's usually pretty friendly, but happy-go-lucky.
He kind of just takes stock. He looks around. He's like, Yamcha's dead.
Yamcha.
Tien's dead.
Pissed.
Piccolo. No, he touches Piccolo's throat. He's like, okay, Piccolo's dead. And then Nappa says something like, oh, there was another one around here too, but he exploded.
Yeah.
And so he's like, that must have been Chaozu.
Damn.
Then he walks towards Nappa, and Nappa's like, all right, let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
And he swings, and it's like, hey, where'd Goku go?
Yeah.
And then Goku's just like, hey, come on, go on. Like, let's have a powwow. And all that stuff. And all this time, there's that shot where Vegeta is trying to, like, taunt him, and his eyes are just following Goku walk past, and Goku isn't reacting to shit.
No, not at
So
all.
we're all just like, how the hell strong is Goku right now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great hero's welcome for him. It's
What a good moment.
One of the best entrances ever, and he's got a few throughout the series.
And
but
this is well deserved. I mean, it's been coming forever. Finally, Goku arrives, and this is the match we've been waiting for.
yes, yeah.
But-
And so he goes to Gohan and Krillin. He gives them each half of the remaining sensu bean.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch, crunch. They heal. He's like, and then Krillin's like, all right, well, now that you're here, we probably can beat them. And Goku's like, actually, like, you guys, I don't want you guys to fight. I'm going to take care of this by myself. And they're like, what are you talking about? And Goku just turns around and walks back to the Saiyans without answering.
Dude.
There's some brilliant animation where you see like his ki kind of just radiating off of him, and that's all. He doesn't need to say anything. Krillin's like, I'm just going to shut up and just let this play out. And now we have one of the most infamous moments in all of Dragon Ball Z, which is
Go for
Goku powering up.
All right. Tell us more.
So he powers up in front of them. Vegeta obviously has the scouter on, and he's seeing this number skyrocket.
Right.
And Nappa's confused as hell. Goku stops powering up. These rocks are lifting off the ground. Yeah. It's a great moment of suspense. And then, like, finally the power up stops, the rocks drop. Nappa, Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? And then in Japanese, Vegeta takes the scouter off and screams, it's over 8,000, and crushes it. And then, of course, infamously in English, most infamous line in all of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. It's over 9,000! Brilliantly delivered by Brian Drummond in the Ocean dub initially. And
round of applause.
such an iconic line that even Horikawa, the Japanese voice actor of Vegeta, when he does panels at cons for Vegeta panels, he wears an over 9,000 shirt.
Yeah.
Even though he was the original sayer of the line, it was over 8,000 when he said it, but that line itself has just become so iconic. You just can't get around it. Ronda Rousey, at the height of her stardom in the UFC, when she did WrestleMania, she had an over 9,000 Vegeta shirt. Amazing scene. Just great. And we don't really know exactly what that means, except for the fact that Nappa is just like, there's no way. Vegeta, what the fuck? There's no way.
Whatever's going to happen, it's going to be great because we've earned it. We've deserved it. All our friends have died. It's time to see Goku kick some ass.
And what's crazy, too, is that it's implied as this episode and the next episode go on that might not even be what the actual number is. Because Goku just beats the shit out of Nappa. He's just like, this is for Chaozu. This is for Tien. This is for Yamcha. This is for Piccolo. And Nappa is just like, what the hell? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I was born with this elite power. And Kakarot is a third class, like, outcast warrior. Like, we sent him as a baby. So he had no potential. We sent him as a baby. But Vegeta says to him, like, look, the only reason that you're getting bested is because you need to cool down a little bit. You need to cool off. If you fight him with a level head, you're more than a match for him. So either that's true and Goku just has better focus than Nappa, or Goku hasn't revealed the full extent of his power just yet.
And I don't want to spoil it, but I think he might be holding back a little bit.
I think so.
That brings us to episode 29, lesson number 1.
And I jumped the gun a little bit. Some of my recap in the last episode of the fight with Nappa occurs in this episode.
So we're just, we will kind of meld this together. We'll add a couple things on the top there in the back, but we're just going to go right into this here too. So basically, Goku starts kicking Nappa's ass.
He kicks Nappa's ass. I mean, Nappa fires a ki blast at him, and he stops it with a ki eye. He just, whatever, and just, just stops it.
But basically with his breath, with one word. Kya. And that stunned Vegeta. He's just like, what the hell? This dude just breathed, just a little fresh mint breath and just destroyed that shit?
He did.
What?
I mean, the Nappa takes the fight to the sky. There's a moment where he launches a surprise attack out of his mouth,
Right.
and Goku, like point blank counters with the Kamehameha.
Mhm.
Brilliant animation right there of the waves kind of like rippling out of each of them. I love that shot. I don't know who did it, but it's such an awesome shot, or series of shots rather. And so basically, Goku is just besting Nappa on every front. So Vegeta's finally like, okay, Nappa, like you're wasting time. I'm done with this. You're out. I'm tagging you out. I'll take care of Kakarot myself. So Vegeta takes Nappa out.
Right.
And Nappa doesn't want to be bored, as we've seen. He wants to constantly destroy and do stuff. And he sees two ripe victims still on the ground, Krillin and Gohan, and makes a dive for them.
Yeah, he basically says, like, hey, if I have to stop, I'm going to take them out first then. He's like,
right.
Vegeta tells him to calm down. He's going to handle this. He's like, you're obviously, Nappa, you're too weak. He's like, just take a step back. Nappa gets pissed, and then he goes for it.
And Goku says, shit, I can't get to them in time.
And this is Nappa going his fastest too. So Nappa's like, this is no way Goku. He's way ahead of Goku. He's not that far from Gohan and Krillin. He's like, death is imminent for these guys.
Right.
Except for the fact that Goku
busts out the Kaioken.
Which
we have only heard about up until now.
We saw it for one brief instance in a different form on King Kai's planet.
Right.
The energy was a white light beam kind of power in his fist, almost like what Krillin can make. It wasn't the full body Kaioken like we're going to see here. Now let's do a little Kaioken explanation. DK, do you want to give us that? Yeah.
So the Kaioken, and is this the episode 2 where we have the flashback where King Kai establishes the stakes of the Kaioken? It's all right. We'll bleed into that.
Yeah.
So the Kaioken is a fan favorite technique, and a lot of fans in the Dragon Ball Z fandom, they're like, why didn't he use it more even after he became Super Saiyan? And then later on in Super, he uses it obviously when he's Super Saiyan God, and that's a great moment. But the reason that he doesn't use it is because the technique is not what the technique purports to be, which is a power amplifier. It's like, oh, if you could just amplify his power, why not just do that all the time? But that's not the point of the Kaioken. The Kaioken is a narrative tool whose sole purpose is to measure Vegeta's power and to provide stakes to Goku when he is fighting against Vegeta. Because King Kai tells him, like, look, or no, Goku even explains to Krillin here. So the stakes are established. After he does it, basically he paralyzes Nappa, like hits him in the back, catches him, throws him over to Vegeta.
Doom, doom, boom, boom, doom.
Right. And Krillin's like, dude, why are you holding back? If you had that technique, why didn't you use it?
Right.
And Goku said, well, it's not that simple. Like, you have to focus so hard because your power basically doubles when you use this technique. And if you don't control it perfectly, you could destroy your body.
Right.
Like, it could rip your, imagine all of the energy you have inside of you just doubles in an instant. If you don't have perfect control over every little detail of that, it can destroy you. So there are stakes. And when this was mentioned, and this is why this is such a great narrative tool, my girlfriend was like, oh shit. Like, so he can't use this very much. Like he can't use it. And it's like, yeah, it's dangerous to use. Like, it saved his friends, great. But if he uses it and something goes wrong, he's done. And then the Earth is destroyed.
And it's a huge key drain. It takes a lot of energy to use as well.
Right.
Not only does it amplify it, it does take a lot of energy to use.
Yes, it's almost like using more of your gas for one step on the pedal than the normal amount that you would use. It drains more energy. That doubling of energy has to come from somewhere. You have to draw from a reserve of some kind. So
exactly. But so let's say that if Goku's power level is at this range, let's say it's at 9,000 right now, right? He's over 9,000. It's over 9,000.
Let's make it even. Let's say 9,000.
Let's say 9,000. Let's go with the theme of the day. Over 9,000. And he does Kaioken. He doubles that instantly.
Yeah, it becomes 18,000. Yeah, which is Vegeta's power level right now.
Like base plus, In
the neighborhood, it's established later on Namek. I believe Zarbon says it. Like, Vegeta's power was only 18,000.
Right.
There's no way it's higher now or whatever. Spoiler alert: Vegeta on Namek. All this stuff. But so it immediately doubles, and there are consequences. So we're told right away, like King Kai says to him, like, never go over double your power and use the technique sparingly because you could die if you use it.
Yep. And Goku's like, nope and nope.
Well, at first he's like, check and check. And that's what makes this as a narrative device so amazing.
That's true.
So he does that. Nappa begs for, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, I gotta add one more thing on here about
please.
the Kaioken. In the beginning of this episode, we were talking about animation styles. And I am not sure or not, but when Goku does Kaioken, he's like jacked. He gets amplified. His musculature grows. He gets bigger. He looks almost like a pro wrestler. His top's already blown off, so his muscles are out there. Now, usually, this is the first time you see him like this big muscles all the time. Do you think it's a side effect of Kaioken to where, oh man, he's pumped up, he's amplified, even though he's in this state? Like it's his muscles are swollen from a workout, or they just stay swollen? Because like he goes out of Kaioken, but his muscles are still kind of jacked. Or is it just like, hey, animators like, let's just roll with him being on steroids, Kaioken?
Dude, I love that you're saying this because I'm ashamed to admit that in the shower earlier, I was thinking about, like, does the Kaioken have a sarcoplasmic effect on musculature?
It might. No, that's an important question. I was like, why? He looks like he's chilling out.
Right.
But he's still, because he can only use it a short period of time, but he's using it the whole episode. He's jacked.
He seems to retain his pump even when he's not using it.
He retains his pump. He lifts. He retains his pump. He doesn't go away when he's not using Kaioken. So that guy's strong-eyed blue.
So there is like a sarcoplasmic side effect of the thing. For people who aren't fitness nerds, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is the growing of muscle in size.
Right.
It's like the cells expand, nutrients flood in, the protein cells expand. Basically, there are two types of muscle growth. Sarcoplasmic myofibrillar. Think that Arnold Schwarzenegger sarcoplasmic myofibrillar is like a 70-kilogram female power lifter in the Olympics. That like doesn't look very big, but they can snatch like 3 times their body weight over their head. It's basically like size versus density. I think
we're talking more about the Arnold kind of size thing going on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it's turning basically like Keanu Reeves into Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly.
In a second. Yeah.
And he's staying.
It happens more later, and I would even say, if memory serves, that in the manga that sort of design takes over.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of make a place, and I think maybe it was people liked it, or it was just cool to see him. Hey, he trains, he's getting bigger.
Right?
So kind of a cool moment there too.
If you push himself to the limit, he's got those insane pumps.
And that's the first time actually. Yeah, let's say that's the first time, because from here on out, Namek, Cell Saga, Frieza Saga, Buu Saga for sure. You can see that musculature kind of stays. This is the first time. Even before this, he never really had it. Once he does Kaioken for the first time here, it kind of like sticks with him a little bit more for the rest of the series. Could be animation.
I would say he kind of accordions. Like he's like lean,
true.
Big, lean, big.
Well, I mean, besides Super is a whole other story too.
Right.
But
he really leans out in Super. Like when you become a god, you just become wiry, I guess. You become Bruce Lee. Yeah. So to cap off this episode, just to punctuate Vegeta's evil, he's got this now decrepit, beaten Nappa at his feet, who asks Vegeta for a hand. He's like, just help me up. And Vegeta throws him into the air.
And the way he does this, Nappa looks at him like this. He's like, oh, thanks, Vegeta. Yeah. Like the most like, oh, thank you for helping me.
It's like, oh, thank you, merciful Vegeta. And Vegeta just whips him into the air and just blasts him into oblivion.
Terrible.
Which I remember, so in the original syndication dub, which I have to touch on because it's such a part of my childhood, they couldn't talk about death too much. Like they had to use euphemisms for it because there weren't any other shows that really dealt with death in the 90s for kids. I don't know if there are now. I mean, I'm sure that Naruto has explored that theme a lot for kids who grew up with it, but they would always use a euphemism like the other dimension.
Right.
Like, so Vegeta's line, I remember, was like, maybe you won't be such a disappointment in the other dimension. But like, kids
are... that one, that's good.
Kids are used to parents using euphemisms for terrible things around them. So there is almost a thing where unpacking the euphemism makes it hit harder.
Right.
Because it's like, as a kid, I was never like, there was never any question. It's like, no, they're dead.
Right.
Like other dimension, it's a euphemism for death. So
I don't know. I think they're at the home for infinite losers.
oh yeah. Yeah.
No. Anyways, back on plot. But yeah, you're right. And he just throws him up. He says, "See you in hell." Kind of thing, basically. Yeah. I'm sending you straight to hell now. But which is like a cool little moment for Vegeta saying this dude is a savage.
Right.
That's when you're like, okay, this is gonna be fun. Which brings us right into episode 30, Goku versus Vegeta, which is another iconic episode.
And just before this, just as a tiny little thing, Goku rescues Krillin and Gohan from the explosion, and then tells them to go to Kame House. He has a touching moment with Gohan. Again, not a terrible father. He's just like, you know what, Gohan, you did so great. I'm so proud of you. Gohan can magically fly now.
Yes.
Yeah, touch on that for a second.
Okay. So I noticed this myself. I was like, I'm watching it. He hasn't flown yet. And then Goku tells Gohan and Krillin, he's like, you guys go wait at Kami House. He's like, I'll take care of this. He's like, right now, basically, love you guys, but you'll be in the way.
Right.
Like, you guys will be targets just like Nappa. You just use targets. He said, go home, whatever.
Some people might be like, well, wait, the characters can fly in Dragon Ball Z. What's your point? Well, you have to remember that when Raditz showed up, Goku couldn't fly.
Right.
He had a technique that he learned from Kami called Buku Jitsu, which is like a hovering, levitating technique.
Right.
But he couldn't fly the way Piccolo could fly.
Right.
For all intents and purposes, it seems like the Z fighters show up flying. So it's like, oh, maybe they learned a more advanced version from Kami in that year. But we never see Gohan learn how to fly. I mean, literally, like Piccolo's stomping on his fingers. He's falling off a mountain.
That's a couple episodes ago. So he can't fly yet.
But now he can,
And now he's just, Krillin and Gohan just kind of, oh man, I feel bad for leaving Goku. Just like, you're like, whoa, hold on. Gohan's flying now? So just another cool thing that we,
it's a little world building thing that just comes out of nowhere. But then Krillin plants the seed.
Right.
He said, can you please take the fight someplace else? I was like, well, why should I do that? And he's like, why should I do that? He becomes the Godfather. Yeah. And Krillin's like, well, I don't know yet, but there might be a way to bring our friends back.
Right.
And Goku's like, no, there isn't. The Dragon Balls are gone. Piccolo's dead. And he's like, no, just trust me. There might be a way.
Yeah. You're right. I think I would have said, if I was Krillin, I think I need to actually just say that.
Right.
Like, I think that's the moment, like, dude, you don't know what's going to happen here. You don't know if Vegeta's going to win.
Right.
You need to let Goku know that, hey, there could be a possible way for them to return.
Totally.
I mean, it's obviously he's already motivated because it's like, if he doesn't win,
it's the suspense.
Earth is destroyed.
Yeah.
But Krillin, come on, bro. Like, that's a kind of a crucial piece of information.
Well, I mean, but the reason I like it is that my girlfriend has such a memory and attention span for story, and that she would usually be like, oh yeah, maybe that Namek thing or whatever, like maybe that thing that they said. But even there, she didn't know what he was talking about. She didn't guess. So she was just like, she's like, oh, okay. Which I have to say, I have to give a shout out to her. Something I didn't say earlier, but when Piccolo died, she made a comment that fans of Dragon Ball Z Abridged will appreciate, where she's like, why didn't Gohan just dodge? Which, if you get that joke, I fucking love you. Okay. That's a Dragon Ball Z Abridged reference. The dodge thing, yeah, but
DK is under the impression that he could have dodged. I take the stance that Gohan was just paralyzed with fear, which is a common trait by Gohan as well. So, like, I don't think either of us are wrong.
You need to see Abridged. If you haven't seen Abridged,
I haven't seen Abridged.
It's incredible.
Okay, well, I'll watch Abridged.
That bit, the recurring bit of Gohan being incapable of dodging, is like one of the cornerstones of that show's comedy.
Look, that's what his middle name is Gohan Deer in a Headlight, I think, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, like, jokes aside, he's a 5-year-old boy.
Right.
There's a guy who just killed all of his friends, just blasted at him, and he's paralyzed with fear. It makes sense.
It's cut some slack.
Anyway, back to the present. Goku sends them away. Him and Vegeta fly. And now we're at the episode Goku versus Vegeta.
Want to read it for us?
Yeah. Or I'll just say it. So he sends them away, and we have the iconic moment where they're in the Paprika Wasteland with Vegeta standing, arms crossed, Goku standing with his hair blowing to the side.
We get two really cool moments too. Two kind of Michael Bay shots
Oh yeah, the animation, the rotating shot, or the double rotating shots of them around each other. Like as Vegeta says to him, it's like, it's weird that you chose this place as your graveyard.
Yeah.
You know.
you see, and this is such a cool moment because you see the wind blowing the hair. You never see that. You know, their hair's always gelled extra max hold, you know, ×5. You see Vegeta's hair kind of blowing, like, wow, that's weird, but it's windy up there on the top of that cliff. And you see Goku kind of, his hair's kind of moving too. You see the wind blowing between them. You see this kind of classic, you know, good, the bad, and the ugly Western standoff right there. It's
right. And they have the conversation that I mentioned earlier. That I feel is the theme of the best of Dragon Ball. Yeah. Which what Vegeta said, like, they measure our power when we're born, and I was a super elite, and the reason we send our babies who are weak to planets like this. So basically, you're just outcast trash. You're nothing. You're garbage. Right. That's why you're here. And Goku says, I'm glad I came here because, you know, I learned a lot. And one thing I learned is maybe an outcast can overcome an elite if they try hard enough. Yeah, and that's kind of a recurring theme, especially between Vegeta and Goku. Right. For the rest of these series, up until right now. Right. So it's still continuing into Super to this day. So you pointed out when we were talking about this off pod that this is like the meatiest fist fight that we see between Vegeta and Goku up until now. They're just beating the shit out of each other. Yeah, so this is the only... This is why I love this episode, guys. Okay, Goku versus Vegeta, fantastic episode from start to finish. But what makes this episode so great to me is that, like, after this saga, after this fight with Goku and Vegeta, every single fist fight that happens is either a 3 to 5 episode fight. Slugfest. It's going to go on and on and on. Oh, but this is super lean. Yeah, this is lean. This is like the Kai before Kai was a Kai thing. You know, this is they hit every major point in this one episode. Yeah, they do not mess around. It's like, okay, boom, Goku and Vegeta, they start fighting. Okay, Goku punches, he's strong. Boom, okay, Vegeta says, I can counter. Vegeta brings it back. Oh, we realize that Goku's not using all his power. Vegeta's like, hey, I know you've got more. And Goku's like, yeah, show me that thing that you did earlier. And so now, and my girlfriend, by the way, is going, oh shit, he has to use the Kaioken again? Like no, like he can't use it too much. And so then Goku does use it. Yeah. They have a back and forth. It's a little power skill before that. But then he's like, you know what? You're right. Screw this. I'm not wasting any more time. Let's do this. That is awesome. Right. Goku says, okay, whatever. Kaioken × 1, whatever, you know, it just does Kaioken. And boom, he powers right up and just knocks the shit out of Vegeta. But then Vegeta is able to overcome it. Because it ends with Vegeta doing that up kick, that beautiful shot where he up kicks Goku. And he's like, don't tell me that was your ace in the hole. Yeah. And then he does this insane power up where there's a storm, which if you have an opportunity, if you can look up the ocean dub of Brian Drummond's scream when he lets it go, it's like one of the best fucking screams in English anime. It's like, I mean, God, they were just tearing their vocal cords apart, recording this stuff. And basically, Vegeta has unleashed his full power. Right. And he's beating the shit out of Goku. And even Goku, using the Kaioken, barely escapes a Ki Blast. ×1. Can't. Yeah. Yeah. He barely makes it out. He's just like, oh shit, Kaioken. Boom. And gets his shirt ripped off and lands and has the thing. So now, really quick, now my girlfriend is like, this is bad. He can't keep using this technique. See? That's what makes it so important. He can't keep doubling his power or he's going to die. And right after she says that, sorry, go ahead. No, you're that's a great point. But right after she says that, he says, well, I'm going to have to use a Kaioken ×3. What? Yeah. But wait, the ×2. So he does it ×2, but it's not enough because, you know, Vegeta's already powered up. Right. Vegeta's base power is 18,000. Kaioken ×1 is about 18,000. So after Vegeta's powered up, he's probably about double that, right? Okay. So he does Kaioken ×2, and you know, you got King Kai. What? This analysis is a little muddy because is base Kaioken different from Kaioken ×2? That to me in the anime is unclear. I feel like the base is a doubling of the power, but they make a meal out of him saying Kaioken ×2 right here to illustrate the fact that he's about to do a ×3.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I feel like the presentation of it is muddy in the show as well. Like it's like he says Kaioken, he says Kaioken times 2. I think that those things are the same. Do you disagree?
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Tell me.
Let us know.
Yeah, what's going on here?
But all I know is I love Kaioken or Kaioken, whatever you want to pronounce it. I love it. And anytime Goku uses Kaioken, I'm down.
Right. And doubling his power, so putting his power at 18,000 is still not enough to overcome Vegeta. Mm-hmm. And he's already, by my girlfriend's measurement, has used this technique too many times. And then he rips his gi off, what's left of it, and he's got that sarcoplasmic pump.
he's Arnold Schwarzenegger right now.
Yeah, and he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's just like, well, I'm going to have to do a times 3. And King Kai is in his head screaming, like, no. You're going to die. Don't fucking do it. And he power...
You kind of think, if you watch Attack on Titan, you kind of think for the first time, if you've never seen a Kaioken times 3, you kind of think his body could kind of,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you really don't know what's going to happen.
You know how they pop out of their skin, basically. They grow in their beast form. You kind of think his body might just explode.
The animation too, they make a meal out of it. Like his pecs are like shot from underneath. They're like swelling. His veins are bulging. Vegeta was very gracious to let him do it, because it takes a long time. And then he shouts like, "Body, don't like blow up," basically. Kaioken times 3, and then just murks the shit out of Vegeta. Just beats the shit out of him.
Beats him.
There's that amazing shot where he punches Vegeta in the stomach, and Vegeta like stumbles back, and he's like vomiting. He like punches him into a mountain. Vegeta like blows up out of the mountain.
That was great. Vegeta was, you see this huge crater made by Vegeta's like beat up body, and then you just see a shot for like 3 seconds, like nothing, and then you're and then he just boom explodes the mountain. You could tell that was awesome. Vegeta was super pissed.
Right.
Great little counter move to just Goku's ass whooping. He just laid it.
But Goku is still too much for him.
Way too much.
Too much for him. And Vegeta's dropped like in a boxing match when somebody is down for a 10 count. I mean, he wouldn't make it back to a 10 right there. He's like holding his stomach. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Yep.
How could I be in this much pain from like this piece of trash? This makes no sense. Meanwhile, Goku is just like, ow, ow. Like his body is like at its limit. He's pumped to the point of like rhabdomyolysis.
He can't barely move. He's having trouble standing at this point.
Yeah.
Kaioken is actually just keeping him up.
Right.
To be honest. And it's kind of funny.
He's got rhabdo for sure.
Yeah. You keep mentioning Vegeta and how he is, how Vegeta is kind of complaining about, losing to an underpowered, low-life Saiyan, lower level Saiyan. The funny thing is, in a lot of ways, Vegeta's kind of beating himself here with his own, mental weakness as far as like thinking he can beat him. Like if he was so focused on this,
right,
he might be more focused on, a different strategy for the battle, but he's just in shock the whole time that this guy is beating his ass.
Yeah. And so really quick, then there's a little filler. We see Launch, who is a character that we haven't seen in a long time, was a major character in Dragon Ball. And she's just, at a bar getting drunk.
Pouring one out for Tien.
Yeah, exactly, because she loved Tien. Yeah. And that's the last we ever see her, I think, in all of Dragon Ball Z.
I think they discarded her character. She's in rehab right now.
Right.
Has been since then.
She doesn't know that Tien came back to life.
Yeah, she came back, but maybe she got arrested for her many thefts. But
yeah, she never sneezes again. So anyway, so Goku is now at his limit. Right. Which again, I'm viewing this through the virginal eyes of my girlfriend who has not grown up with this. And when Vegeta even just stands back up and he sees that he's bleeding, he's like, blood? Like this trash spilt my blood? And then he's just like, fuck it. Like, say goodbye to the planet, Kakarot, and leaps up in the air to do the Gallic Gun.
Right.
Is this the same episode, or does the beam struggle bleed into the next one?
I think it bleeds in the next one.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, though. Boom. Okay.
You're right. Yeah, it does.
This goes right into episode 31, which is, guess what? Another banger. We got one after another. What a great series of episodes here.
Yeah.
Just really, really great little
Again,
saga.
like these 6 episodes from the moment that Piccolo dies all the way through, I think, through episode 33. It's just like
Right.
some of the meatiest shit in all of Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly. So this is episode 31, Saiyan Size Secret. Vegeta and Goku, they start fighting again, of course, one-on-one. Battle of strength, will, and determination. Blow by blow, 2 warriors seem evenly matched. Until Vegeta reveals, of course, the secret power of the Saiyans, which Goku doesn't even know about at all, by the way.
Yeah, which is tragic. Okay, so the Kaioken times 3 happened at the beginning of this episode. So we're bleeding a little bit. It's all blending together. So I made the mistake again. I'm bleeding synopses between episodes. The Kaioken times 3 is in this episode.
Don't get too frustrated, because the truth is, all these kind of go together.
They really do, yeah.
This is a great series of episodes, and they're all awesome as well. We're just saying they're bangers. They are fantastic. One point off the top. So this is mainly about, the fight's continuing. This episode is mainly Vegeta at his wit's end. He doesn't know what he's gonna do, and then he realizes, hey, I'm gonna have to turn into my ape form, Uzaru. Is that how you pronounce it?
Ozaru.
Ozaru form. I'm getting better. I'm gonna work on my pronunciations there. But he wants to turn in his form because he knows, hey, if I can turn in that form, there's no way this crazy Goku.
But even before that, so this is the moment, to me, is like one of the most important moments of any story in my life.
Okay.
Is Goku is already basically done. He's just like, he even says like, wow, like this guy's really strong. Like he's not gonna quit. All right, I won't quit either. Then his arm, like he's like, oh shit, like my body is falling apart. Vegeta makes the decision to just destroy the world. He flies up. He's like, I mean, I don't remember what he says in Japanese. I've got the ocean in my head forever. He's like dodge this next attack if you can, but even if you manage to dodge it, like your precious planet is gone.
Right.
He flies up in the air. And so now my girlfriend,
for a little bit of time, actually.
No, my girlfriend he's like, I've got no choice. I have to do another 3 times Kaioken, even though we've now seen his body is falling apart.
Right.
And my girlfriend's like, no. And then he does the Kamehameha against Vegeta's Gallic Gun, and we have this famous moment of the beam struggle.
Oh yeah.
The purple beam and the blue beam. And this is, if I have one criticism of the way that Kai is edited, it's that they didn't give this scene enough room to breathe.
Right.
Because in Z, it is so suspenseful.
Right.
How they're even, and then the Gallic Gun starts to get a little bit of an edge, and you see like the strain on Vegeta's face. He's like, ah! And Goku too. And it's such amazing animation, like great line work, all of that stuff. And then
beautiful shots.
And then after like what seems like an eternity, like is Goku going to prevail? Out of nowhere, he says Kaioken times 4. And just boom. And like, oh my God. Like as a kid, that moment, like I get chills still thinking about it now. Like establishing that rule, breaking that rule, and then later making Goku pay the consequences for breaking that rule. This decision basically eliminates him from the fight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he does a little bit more later, but he is now at his end.
He's tapping out.
And I was wondering, I was just sitting there in anticipation, waiting to see how my girlfriend was going to react when this happened. And when he shouted times 4, she gasped. She was like, and like could not believe it. It's just such a beautiful moment in storytelling.
Yeah, it's a great moment. Anytime he does a power up with the Kaioken, I'm a fan. I mean, it's super fun. Just a couple other notes on the same episode. Another cool one. Yachirobe's here, by the way.
Right, he's just watching.
Yeah, Yachirobe's been watching.
He gets blasted away when their beams hit each other.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Which in the filler, we haven't even talked about, he's taken credit for the training of all the Z fighters. Yeah. He's like, they're my disciples. Give me free food.
He is Mr. Satan before Mr. Satan.
Right. There's a lot of fat jokes. Yeah. There's a lot. We also haven't touched what really is happening at the Kame house. Like, there were news reporters broadcasting, and then they got killed by Nappa. And then fortune teller Baba shows up, and she starts showing stuff on the crystal ball. But the key of Goku and Vegeta is so intense that it's interfering with the ball's ability to actually see what's happening.
It is a huge energy interference. That is not 5G network on that crystal ball for sure.
No.
Yeah, she's struggling. But You know, Bulma's kind of pissing me off here because she kicks that crystal ball like 7 times. I'm like, stop kicking this poor old lady's crystal ball. If you're gonna watch this thing, don't break her flat screen TV. You know, it's like, what are you doing? This is not your property. Don't throw it around like that. I mean, I get it. You're intense, but Chi-Chi's not even doing that, you know, and she's going crazy. So it's like, Bulma, take it easy here, man. Leave that crystal ball alone. You know, let her do her job. That's it. Okay.
So the beam hits Vegeta.
Yeah.
He flies off. Yajirobe comes out of hiding, and he's like, "You did it." He like gives Goku like a little love slap, and Goku's like, "Ah!" He just screams so loud because his body is like literally dying now.
At this point, pretty much all of his bones are broken. I'm assuming because
I don't think his bones are broken. I think that
really?
If I can, no, I think that happens later. I think that. I'm going to get real fucking nerdy here for a second. I think that it's something like rhabdomyolysis, which I mentioned earlier, which if you aren't familiar with it, Google it. It's a phenomenon that happens in crush victims where hemoglobin, I believe, from muscles leaks into the bloodstream because the muscles are so destroyed by a crushing injury that it leaks into the bloodstream and it basically destroys your kidneys. And there was 10 years ago a uptick of rhabdo cases amongst people who did CrossFit because they were working out so hard they were literally making their muscle cells explode. And people who did CrossFit were getting rhabdo right and left. And I feel like if we're talking about the fact that he's getting these pumps from doing it, then his muscle cells are exploding. He's got rhabdo. That's
actually a great theory. You know,
that's my theory. But he's hurting. His tendons are probably ripping.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first started that little tangent, I was like, where is this going? But
where the fuck is this going, DK?
You brought it back and it made sense.
I always do.
Yeah, I always do. Well, it does make sense. That was good.
So anyway, so Goku says, nah, he's not done yet. He's going to come back. Yajirobe runs away. Vegeta is just like, what? This might be the moment where he says that he has blood. I forget. But he's just like, you know what? I timed my arrival with the full moon. So now I'm going to turn into an Ozaru and I'm going to kill Goku. And then he looks around and he's like, oh shit, the moon's gone.
And he's like, there should be a moon right now, actually. He's like, where is the moon?
It's like, where is it? It's like, oh, Kakarot probably got rid of it. What an asshole. You know,
he gives him some time to breathe, actually. This is a good moment because it gives Krillin, Gohan, and Goku, gives them a moment of respite. Episode 32, we are rocking and rolling here, guys. Spirit Bomb Away. Not to be mistaken with Spirited Away. Spirit Bomb Away, not the Hayao Miyazaki film.
I wonder if this episode was named that because it aired after Spirited Away came out in the United States.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
They've done stuff like that before. Yeah. Okay, let's get a quick recap here. All right, the battle continues between Goku and Vegeta, who is now a completely transformed Saiyan warrior. When Gohan senses a danger his dad is facing, he convinces Krillin that they must return and fight.
Really quick, in the last episode, that's when he starts to transform.
Right.
He gives this really convoluted description of why a Saiyan transforms at a full moon.
That's right.
It's like something about the way that moons reflect solar energy basically, in layman's terms, there's a way about when a moon reflects the energy, it triggers an evolution response within Saiyan genes, which doesn't happen just by looking at the sun or looking at a partial moon. And he cuts his power in half, basically, like puts most of his power into a ball that he mixes with the oxygen of the Earth's atmosphere, which when it explodes and mixes, it reflects the amount of light necessary to trigger that evolutionary thing within him.
All right, thank you for my nerdy half of the Nerdy Jock podcast, DK. That was very amazing science lesson. No, thank you so much, actually, DK. That was
it is a very weird description. Do you remember?
All right, Bill Nye.
Do you remember in the original there was like a made up explanation in the original dub?
I was cool with that, actually. I was just like,
where he's like, your father was a brilliant scientist. We ran into some trouble on Yargon 7 and things were looking bad until your father did this. And like, yeah, I thought that was cool because we don't know Bardock yet.
Here's my thing. Here's my deal.
Yeah.
If you got a supernatural explanation for something, you don't have to explain it to me in detail.
Totally.
I think it's cool. But the Force, yeah, that's cool. Oh, it's a mystical energy, a power, cool.
Even though it's not canon, I think that explanation is better than trying to make it like hard science.
Yeah,
Yeah, for if you don't know the terms hard magic, soft magic, it's a term I believe invented by novelist Brandon Sanderson, just describing like hard magic is magic that behaves like a science. Like in Full Metal Alchemist, the alchemy behaves like a science. There are rules to it. But soft magic is like the Force. It's like it's a mystical thing that happens. Yeah, so it's not as hard. So
okay, that's a great explanation too, though. So I'm definitely for soft magic, but that's cool with me. Boom.
Yeah.
He makes it, sends it up there.
Starts turning into an ape, and then now we've got Spirit Bomb away.
Now we got Spirit Bomb away. All right, break this down for me real quick here. Got to keep rolling.
So Vegeta retains his consciousness and his sense of self and his ego in a way that Goku and Gohan do not. And all the while, before he's transforming, he's kind of talking to Goku about the importance of the full moon. And Goku's just like, what's this guy talking about? Like, what does the full moon matter? And then when he sees Vegeta turn into the giant ape, and he remembers what Raditz said about if he had only had his tail, if he had only did that, he realizes, I was the ape that that my grandpa warned me about, that comes out on a full moon. And that means I'm also the person that killed my grandfather.
Huge.
Everyone keeps it from him.
Yeah.
He becomes an Ozaru, I think, 2 times in all of Dragon Ball, maybe 3 if I'm forgetting one, but certainly 2. And no one ever has the heart to tell him that it's him, especially Roshi, because Roshi's like, oh shit, Goku was the one who killed Gohan. He killed his own grandpa and he has no idea.
No idea. And no one tells him, and it's like, dude, and I feel like Goku's kind of been owed that a little bit, at least, you know, to get some kind of solace, because he does see, he meets, you know, okay, tangent here. In Dragon Ball, you know, after was it at the Budokai or after the Budokai? But like Gohan is there, like he sees.
It's like a brief little tournament with Baba's
tournament. Yeah, with the otherworldly fighters. And
I think it's like Dracula, Mummy,
faces Gohan,
stuff like that. And he faces his grandpa Gohan, and Gohan beats him because Gohan knows that his tail is his weakness.
Exactly. So it's like really, if you read Dragon Ball, which obviously I recommend, and watching it, it's a really touching moment. So it kind of reflects now. It's like, wow. You know, I've always wanted to see a little bit more of Gohan and Goku, like Grandpa Gohan and then Goku. Kind of understated in this episode, but it's actually a bigger moment if you're a big fan of the show than you'd think.
Our mutual friend Mark Dowell, actually, during COVID, for his birthday, I gave him all of Dragon Ball as the manga.
Oh, wow.
Not Z. I gave him Dragon Ball, and because he had never read it. And he told me, like, the most touching moment for him was when Goku and Gohan reunited. His grandpa. Like, and that is a really touching moments. I think it's the first time we ever see Goku cry. Yeah. Like, he's just so emotional. Like, this guy that was his whole world.
Goosebumps.
And in this moment, too, he realizes, I killed him. Yeah. I was the one. And no one ever told me, like, out of mercy. Yeah. No one ever told me. And he has no moment to grieve.
I was about to say, I was literally about to say, he has not 1 second to say, oh, man, like, or reflect on that. He says, oh, wow, this is terrible.
He's like, I'm going to have to, I owe it to Grandpa if I ever see him again.
When I see him again, I'm going to apologize in person. And that was a really sweet line. Right. A great delivery by Goku on that one.
Yeah. Which is extra sad now because I realized they never meet again.
I know.
And all of Dragon Ball Z, even Super, he never meets his grandpa again.
Guys, bring him back in Super. Let's get Gohan back. Yeah. You know, let's bring back the grandpa.
Why didn't anyone ever wish him back? Yeah, I mean, Bulma at this point in the story is just basically like farming the Dragon Balls for cosmetic surgery. Yeah. So, it's like, just bring Gohan back. I mean, or maybe Gohan's just happy to be dead. He's just like, whatever. You know, I was an old man. What's my life going to be? I'm going to have arthritis. You know, I had to deliver milk with the Ox King as a child. You know, this is terrible. Anyways, back to the present. Goku still has one technique. It's his ace in the hole.
One technique
that we have seen already, which is the Genki Dama, aka the Spirit Bomb.
Another great technique.
The problem is that Vegeta isn't just bigger, but he's faster now too. He's faster as an ape, and Goku's body is wrecked. He doesn't have a moment to even focus on this, but he borrows Tien's technique from the Tenkaichi Budokai, the Taioken, Fist of the Sun, aka Solar Flare, temporarily blinds Vegeta and charges up enough Genki from the world in order to stop Vegeta. And unfortunately, it is not enough.
Not enough.
He doesn't have enough time. Vegeta...
It's like halfway formed is what he said.
Yeah. And then Vegeta hits him. The energy escapes.
or at least half of it does.
Yeah, Goku is, down for the count. He gets his legs crushed, his legs broken.
Definitely legs are broken now. If they weren't broken yet, they're broken now.
Yeah, Vegeta's about to torture him, and Goku uses the very last of his personal energy to blind Vegeta's right eye.
Yeah.
And he says something in the Japanese too, is like, I guess you could call that the last fart of the weasel or something, which I don't know if that means what euphemism that is in Japanese. I don't know if weasels are considered like ferocious creatures, like are very tenacious.
Right.
But it's like that they'll fight you even if they're just farting or whatever. I don't know what it means, but he says, I can't even lift my hand anymore. Do what you like. And at this time, because now there's this giant fake moon in the sky,
Right.
Gohan and Krillin see it.
Yeah.
And Gohan, finally a moment of like true growth, is like, I have a bad feeling about that. I'm going back. I don't care.
Huge growth moment for Gohan too. By the way, another big moment for Gohan.
Right.
And he's about to have another one here once he gets back.
Right.
But this is actually a really cool moment for Gohan because Krillin's still saying, hey, we should probably get out of here.
There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, nothing we can do. Trust your father. He actually, throws like, hey, your dad is not, he's not fighting against you, he's fighting for you.
Right.
He's like, but you should just turn back now and, you keep going to the Kami house. You'll be safe there. Your mama's there. Everyone's there. That's what your dad wants you to do. But Gohan, he realizes, he has been cowardly. He, reflects on Piccolo. He reflects on his father. And he says, you know what? I got to go back. I feel like something's wrong. Something's going on. I feel a responsibility. So that was another big moment for Gohan. Not really so much in his fighting abilities, but his character actions.
Yeah. And so that they're heading back, which goes into the next episode here on the Shadows. And what confronts them when they get back is just Vegeta just crushing every bone in Goku's body.
Poor
slowly.
guy. Has him like this, about to pop his head off like a cherry.
Right. And so Krillin and Gohan show up, and Krillin has this amazing technique, the Kienzan. He's just like, hey, I can cut his tail off. I can cut his tail off because Yajirobe shows up and he's like, hey, get out of here, otherwise Vegeta's going to see me too.
Right.
And then we're all dead. And you see he's a giant monster now. There's nothing we can do. And then Krillin says, no, we can cut off his tail and he'll go back to normal. And so he tells Gohan, like, run around the front and distract him. So Gohan runs around the front, and he's just, yelling at him, basically, not really being much of a distraction, doesn't attack him or anything like that. Goku's about to get his head popped off. Krillin fires off a Kienzan, but Vegeta, probably noticing what's going to happen, because it's like, yeah, what's this kid doing in front of me? Yeah. Just jumps over it.
Yeah, if you had asked me, I think it was more of I think he could sense that energy. I think he felt like something coming. I don't know. You could make that argument because when they arrive on Earth, they cannot sense energy. Yeah, that's established. That's why they have scouters. Maybe you're right.
But he does say on Namek that he learned a trick on Earth. He's like I fought against foes who could sense their foes' power. Yeah. And I learned to do that as well.
Sure. Okay. But, so you're probably right, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you're right.
But he also does say the line, like, you think I would fall for that obvious trick? Right. It's like I knew that one of you just wouldn't come back by himself. Yeah. So.
And it kind of goes, and then the next thing that happens is basically it's one after another. He dodges the attack and it's like, you idiot, what do you think I'm doing?
Now you can witness your father's death.
Yeah, we're going to kill you. I can't believe you guys came back. You're an idiot. Watch this. Now you can watch yourself, and then I'll finish you guys off. And boom, bing, bang, boom. Yajirobe shows up.
Yeah, Yajirobe, in a surprise twist, does something useful, takes that katana of his and chops off Vegeta's tail and brings him back down to size.
Yeah, and you guys got to let us know. Like, if you're on YouTube or on the pods, write something about this part too, because Yajirobe might be the most clutch, worthless character in Dragon Ball. Like, he might be the one. If not, I can't really think of any other characters that are pretty much as worthless as Yajirobe, but still as clutch as Yajirobe has been a few times.
Aside from maybe Mr. Satan befriending Boo, which was more of like a courtship. It took longer. Yeah. But yeah, like in terms of a clutch, this one move really, gave him the W eventually.
This like, without this, it is game over. Like, Yajirobe, in a way, he definitely wins this episode, and he wins the day. And he pretty much, besides this, worthless. But I still have a little, I love all these characters. So even Yajirobe, I have a place in my heart for that guy.
Right.
So shout out to Yajirobe, love ya, and sliced off Vegeta's tail. Vegeta's pissed as hell.
He's pissed. His power is weakened because
Yep.
he used a lot of it to make that fake moon.
Mm-hmm.
But Gohan and Krillin are still not enough for him, and Goku's completely down for the count. And so Goku says to Gohan, they're laying next to each other, and he says to him, I need you to fight the Saiyan.
Right.
I need you to hold your own against him for a while because I have a plan. I need to do something, and Krillin is the only one that can do it. And Gohan's like, I can't. There's no way. He's too strong. And Goku's like, stop being a stubborn jackass. You have to do this. No one else can do it. Everyone will have died for nothing if you don't do this. Yeah. And so then Vegeta lands on Goku and like breaks his ribs extra, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Does a sick like knee bash on his stomach and just destroys Goku, and obviously that's going to trigger Gohan. And
so then Gohan starts fighting with Vegeta.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Goku calls Krillin over, and he tells him, "Listen, I need to give you something. About half of it got away." But if you use this, we can stop the Saiyan.
Right.
And Krillin doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And he's like, just take my hand. And Krillin's like, what are you your hand's broken. What are you doing? And he's like, okay, here it is. Gives him all this energy. Krillin is overwhelmed by it. It's more energy than he's ever felt in his own body before. Goku has to be like, okay, concentrate. Focus above your hand. Form it into a ball. Do all this stuff, and he's like, yeah, now you have to hit him with this.
Yeah. You can use this Genki Dama, which is a technique he doesn't even know how to use. Yeah. This is brand new to him. He's like literally just thrown in there, no cliff notes, no nothing. Just like, hey, take my hand, take this energy, form it into a ball, and throw it at that guy, and hopefully it hits him.
And Gohan's doing an admirable job, but he is still on the back foot.
Yeah, he's put up his, give Gohan some credit. He's thank God Piccolo beat his ass, so he's learned to take an ass whipping. He's kind of holding his own. He's getting some punches and kicks in.
He fires a series of Masenkos.
Yeah, he does a couple of Masenkos. Like he's doing his best, by God.
Right.
That little fellow.
Meanwhile, Krillin gets to an advantageous position, but he has no idea when to throw the Spirit Ball. It's like, or Spirit Bomb, sorry. The Genki Dama.
No, all of them. Spirit Ball, Spirit Bomb, Genki Dama. You know what we're talking about, guys.
And then King Kai, showing no impartiality to his minions, tells Krillin, you have to focus on the Saiyan's evil energy.
Right.
Because Gohan's getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, and we'll just kind of go right into it. Krillin's offensive. So this is episode number 34. Next to last episode that we're going to be doing. We're
the penultimate episode.
An hour and 30 minutes. This is definitely a Dragon Ball Z Megapod. But if there's any episode that deserved to go this long, this is definitely the one.
Absolutely.
This is my favorite arc right now.
All the best episodes in the Saiyan saga, arguably,
are happening now. So
exactly.
So if you need to take a break, press pause. But if not, let's rock and roll. All right. Want to break it down for us?
Yeah. So Krillin forms the Genki Dama into a ball. Gohan's holding his own. Krillin's looking for that opportune moment. King Kai tells him he has to focus on the Saiyan's evil energy, not use his eyes. And he's looking, and finally the moment occurs where he feels that he's like, this is the moment to throw. And then Yajirobe pops out and goes, what are you waiting for? Throw it! And Krillin's like, oh, you dumbass! And he throws it, but Vegeta heard Yajirobe. So as he's rushing to finish off Gohan, he sees this thing coming and he jumps over it. So it's another butt. It's like, shit. And again, my girlfriend just like, no! Like how could that be? But then Goku tells Gohan, listen, he threw it aiming at the Saiyan's evil energy. If you have no evil energy in you, you can bounce it back.
Bounce it back, baby.
Yeah, and then Gohan puts out his little hand.
He does a total Gohan move. He puts his hand, if you're watching, he just puts his hands like he always does.
Like looks
That's
away.
how he shoots most of his shots besides Masenko. Even sometimes Masenko. 2 hands out.
Right.
And bounces it back.
Bounces it back, hits Vegeta, and just rockets him into the atmosphere.
He at first, it kind of, before it rockets him, you get a huge energy bump. All kinds of little weird energy waves are going. This shit hurts. This is like 1,000 volts of electricity in his body, and then it just rockets him right to the outer space. And you think, oh, thank God, man, this guy's gone.
The nightmare is over.
Nightmare is over.
Yeah. And
but it's not.
But it's not. So Vegeta falls back down, and everyone thinks he's dead.
Right.
And Krillin walks over to him and says something like, "It's like, well, the least I could do is dig you a grave after all the shit that you put us through."
This dude just got his ass sent to outer space with a beam of energy, and he still gets back and he has energy to talk shit.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy still can kill you.
You can dig a grave for yourself, or whatever he says. Yeah. And and that's he fucks Krillin up. He fucks Yajirobe up. And then in a surprise twist, Gohan's tail grows back. And so Goku tells him to look at the fake moon in the sky. Vegeta realizes what's about to happen. And next episode.
That was
the final episode.
Yeah, final episode. That was a quick recap, but it was fine because it really just these all kind of bleed into one great finale.
Right.
And this episode is episode 35, the last episode of this episode of Dragon Ball Z Nerdy Jock Media Megapod Anime Edition. Let's go. This is episode 35 called Mercy. Okay? So basically, Goku in his Uzuru form, he's like subconsciously, he's kind of for some reason, even though he's not trained to talk or in his ape form or understand.
Well, really quick, before he even transforms. Before he even transforms, Vegeta's about to cut his tail off.
Oh, that's right.
Before he can look at the ball. And then Yajirobe, in another clutch move, jumps out of nowhere and just slashes him across the back.
Oh, yeah. He tears that armor up, man. That sword's going to have to go get some work done after that.
A deep bloody gash in Vegeta's back distracts him, so Vegeta smacks the shit out of Yajirobe. And then by the time he turns back to Gohan, he realizes, oh shit, the kid's becoming an Ozaru. He's just beating the shit out of him, but he's already transforming.
Yeah. So he's transforming, and at this point you're like, oh man, poor Vegeta. Wait, he's a bad guy. No, but Vegeta back is bleeding. He's crushed now. He's not doing well. Gohan is powering up. He's turning into his huge Uzuru form, and they're able to convince him to attack Vegeta. He's not just going crazy this time. He's
rampaging at first, and then Goku is able to communicate to him, no, attack the Saiyan.
Yeah, attack the Saiyan, and that's when he just starts kicking Vegeta's ass until
Vegeta busts out a Kienzan of his own, cuts off Gohan's tail.
Quick learner, Vegeta
ending that threat, except for the fact that Gohan's right on top of him, and he's going to land on him before he is fully reverted into a child.
So basically, I'd say the ape form probably is like 10 or 20 tons.
Yeah.
It's like a couple of buildings fall on you. I mean, even more than that, because they get thrown into mountains. So I'd say the getting crushed by this is not a fun. Imagine a steamroller landing on you, basically.
Right, pretty much. And finally, Vegeta has had enough.
Oh, he's had enough.
He's had enough. He calls his pod.
Yeah,
he summons it with his remote control. The pod is coming for him. Mm-hmm. He can barely move. He's probably got a ton of broken bones and torn tendons himself.
He can barely crawl.
And Krillin picks up the discarded sword from Yajirobe, and he's like, it's time to finish this.
Yes. Another goat move by Krillin. Krillin is way underestimated. Krillin, you're the man. You're the man, Krillin.
Everybody takes a back seat later, so you can absolutely, and Krillin becomes more concerned about the fact that he's gonna die without a girlfriend. That line comes up a lot in the movies, and he becomes kind of this comical character. But no, I mean he's about to impale Vegeta.
Yeah, he's like, nah, man. He's like, I'm not letting this dude go. Screw this guy. He just killed our friends. He almost killed us, and Goku's damn near death. And he's like, screw this. We're gonna take him out. Yeah.
But Goku tells him, like, no, I don't want you to kill him.
Goku.
I want you to stop. And Krillin points out, like, okay, well, the obvious dangers of that are that he comes back, he kills us all later, he's killed all of our friends, why do it? And Goku In Toriyama's own words, Goku is a very pure character.
Mm-hmm.
All he cares about is fighting people that are stronger than him and getting stronger himself. Getting stronger because he loves to. And one of the ways he does that is fighting people that are really strong. And he says to Krillin, he says, I know this isn't a good reason, but when I saw him laying there and I saw you about to kill him, I couldn't help but think, what a waste. And he talks Krillin into sparing Vegeta on the condition, because Krillin says, look, okay, you saved all of our lives. The least I can do is grant you this request. But when he comes back, you better kill him. You better kick his ass. And Goku is, of course, oh yeah, I will be the one to defeat him next time.
And he'll look forward to it.
But Vegeta, with some ominous words before he takes off, you guys are lucky.
Right.
You've been spared, but I am definitely coming back, and I am definitely going to kill all of you.
Oh, Vegeta, gotta love him. But yeah, what a great arc. So then he blasts off, and then we're headed to Namek pretty soon here.
That's it. That's the end of the episode. Vegeta blasts off into space.
Last 10 episodes, probably 10 of my favorite episodes of the entire Dragon Ball. I mean, it's just, this pod is just already gone an hour and 40 over these 10 episodes, and we could have probably talked for another hour.
Right.
And
if you're reading the manga, it's going to go much faster.
Yeah, pick up the manga. Get on Amazon's having sales all the time. Read it, or even if you don't.
Or support your local bookstore, whichever. Yeah.
Exactly. Support your local book. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Support your local bookstore. Go get the manga. Check it out. It's available and accessible pretty much anywhere you can find manga.
I don't know if the Right Stuff is still around. That's a really great online anime and manga sort of.
Yeah, no, Right Stuff's still going on.
Yeah. So Right Stuff is a great source.
I mean, Crunchyroll, Viz, you can still get it up. Those websites as well. But,
there are great ways to consume it. In the last episode, you saw that I had the Viz Big editions of Dragon Ball. If you're going to get a localized English version, I think that that's the best way to consume all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because the paper quality is much higher than any other release.
Mm-hmm.
The images are huge, so that's great. Or I also love the full color version, which I was, as a purist, I said, no, you can't color Dragon Ball. It's like coloring It's a Wonderful Life or any of those Turner movies that he colored. But no, I gotta say the job that Shueisha did coloring Dragon Ball full color, it's incredible. And Viz
looks good.
Viz, I know you're listening. I know you're fans. You need to color the Piccolo arc. You need to color Dragon Ball.
Let's do it.
For the love of God, because those things are colored in Japanese already. So just bring them over.
Yeah.
Bring them over, please. But yeah, pick up the manga. Read it. Watch Kai if you feel like it. Can I really quickly correct the record here?
Mm-hmm.
I recommended the English dub of Kai and said that it was on Hulu in an earlier episode. I found that it's a bit inconsistent. Some of the episodes are uncut and some of them are not. So in the episode where Piccolo first uses the Makanko Sapo, he says special beam cannon.
Right.
And so it's an edited episode, and I just recently watched the episode where Krillin uses Taioken on Dodoria, and he says in English Taioken, and also said Kienzan. So it's a little inconsistent on Hulu. Again, you can purchase the Blu-rays of Kai if you want to watch it fully uncut. If you like watching things dubbed in English, I think there is no better way to consume Dragon Ball Z than the English Funimation dub of Kai. It's the closest that the English version has ever come to the Japanese scripts, and the actors now have 20 to 30 years of doing Dragon Ball under their belt, and they're much better at it.
They're good.
Plus, there's a new Frieza, there's a new young Gohan with, which no disrespect to the original young Gohan that Funimation did. Everybody's amazing. I mean, it's like Broadway. Different actors play different people, and they all do a great job in their own right. So anyway, that tangent over.
Yeah, no. Any last thoughts, or we're Dunsky here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what a ride.
One more thing. If you're here, ride or die, hour 43 in, hour and a half. When I edit this down, if you're still here, hour and 40. You know what? You guys are the goats.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us and for listening to us talk about Dragon Ball.
We love to have you. We love you guys. Keep coming back. Remember to follow us on socials. Nerdy Jock _media on all the websites, all the social media sites, YouTube as well. So share it with your friends and let them know what you think. Let us know what you think. Until next time.
Keep tuning back in, because we're onward to Namek.
Onward to Namek. Yeah, we could have timed that better, but whatever.
All right, whatever.
See you guys next time.
Have a good one.